guys, welcome back to Motorsport Madness, and today we have a pretty different video for you. I've done a similar video where we focus on F1 cars for where we are, but this time is going to be a little bit different. Now, tomorrow is the big start of the Goodwood Festival of Speed, one of the highlights of the motor racing calendar. Every motor racing fan knows about this event, and I feel quite fortunate to be able to be going for 2 days for this year's event. I'm actually going on the Friday and the Sunday, so I'm really excited. Some of the cars that are going, some of my favourite cars, including the Auto Union Type C and a Porsche 917K, which will be on the hill climb, so I'm really excited. And the main theme for this year is innovations in motorsport. Now, I thought to myself, I wanted to do a video for Goodwood, and I thought, well, I could drive my personal favourite cars on the hill climb. I did F1 cars last time, but I thought, actually, this time, let's look at our own little innovations. So I've compiled a list of about 16, 17 cars that are maybe classed as innovative. I can't say that word, but you know what I mean. And compiled this list to just showcase. Also showcase these mods. Some of them aren't mods; they're official Kunos cars. But some, including the one in front of you, is a mod created and available for free. And we're going to start off right from the very first. The 1886 Benz patent motor Vargas. And as you can see, is it a car, or is it like a carriage without the horse? Because it pretty much is that, but we have at our disposal a tiny 1 litre engine, 1 cylinder as well, just chuffing away at the back. It's almost like a steam car, because they made a similar sound back in the early 1800s, and this was like the new thing. Only available for the elite. There's only 25 of these made, and they're available for, at the time, about £5,000. Which back then, if you had 5 grand, you're like a millionaire. And this thing could only go at about 8 miles per hour. And if you're lucky, depending on where you're driving, you can get this thing up to about 40 if you're going downhill. I've only driven this a couple of times, but I probably won't be able to take this the full hill climb, because it's a bit too much for this car. So we're going to give it a little go, and we have a big list. I have a bit of paper here of the cars that I'm going to be trying out, some of which I've driven on a regular basis, and I've featured on this channel before, some of which I haven't. And some of them are quite unique, some of them are not so unique, but they are still classed as an innovation and also iconic. So I want a little bit of a mix up, because of course not every car at Goodwood this year is an innovation. An innovation, they're just there. And I honestly really cannot wait. I hope to meet like a proper, established driver as well, because I've never actually met like a celebrity or anything like that. I'm kind of an outcast amongst all my friends and family. I've never met anyone famous. I've seen them at a distance, but never actually gone up, said hello, or got an autograph or anything like that. Hopefully that will change. I have 2 chances. Right, anyway, I think we should just get on with this, and let's have some fun, shall we? Yeah, alright. Let's get into this. Okay then, here we are at the start line for the first car in this beautiful selection of cars that I have on the show, and here we are. We even have a nice top hat and a nice moustache. I wish I had a moustache in real life, especially something like this. But there's our little engine down there. Delightful. That's what it sounds like to rev, and obviously I'm using my steering wheel, so this is a bit strange. Right, ready? Does this thing have a horn? I can't remember what the horn is. No, I think that's about the lights. Maybe that one? Nope. No, we don't have a horn. Okay. let's just go. And we're off across the yard of bricks. That's pretty much it. This thing's just fun, isn't it? It's just so hilarious. But the detail on it is just really, really good. You've got to hand it to the creator of this mod. It's just really good. Do I have another gear? No, I don't. Hey guys. See, I think for Goodwood every year they should just start the show with this car, because this is the dawn of everything that we see nowadays everywhere. Every car that we see was born after this. So just to start out with this thing chugging along and just, yeah. And everything that comes after it is just nothing. Like, none of the cars nowadays look like this. So every car now is a fake. It's a phony. Good morning. Yeah, can't really. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Okay. Oh, nearly had a bit of a crash there. Oh, gathering speed. God, this is just breathtaking. I know it's terrifying for everyone watching. So that's the thing. Having this come towards you at this speed in 1886 would have been absolutely terrifying. You would never see. The only place you probably would have seen this speed would have been a fast running horse, okay, yeah, and a train. And that's it. And possibly a boat. And here we are. See, it's beautiful. There's Goodwood House over there. I probably won't make it over there. What's that thing in the sky? Oh, a moving picture. Wow. Everything seems so alien-like. Alfa Romeo. A Land Rover. Wow. Mclaren Mp4-4. Never heard these things before. Sung. It's crazy. Where am I? I'm not too sure what the centerpiece is this year. I think just one car. I'm not too sure. Last year it was a bit weird. Apparently it's like a scaffolding, and you could see it via an app or something. I'm not too sure. I don't know what it was, but it looked ugly. Hopefully this year they've got a centerpiece like that. As I take my hand off the wheel or lever, we're going off course. This is nice, little nice Ferris wheel over there. Obviously it's 1886, I don't know what that is. One of those things. Now I've heard of them. I think they're around this time. They might have been doing something else, like, I don't know, shoemaking. I think we're just going to go into the house, because we ain't making it up this hill, and I don't want to bore you guys. Those rings. Look at the Olympics. Okay, I'm going to turn in here. Be careful, guys. Fast moving vehicle. Obviously, I'm not like shitting on this thing. It's revolutionary. As we slow down immediately. Uh-oh. Come on, you can make this. I am the centerpiece. Oh, hello. That's the limp. Oh, it's just a helicopter. See, I'm main attraction. I'm just gonna sneak in between you guys. Don't mind me. What are you staring at me for? You ever seen a car before? Yeah. Wow. So what have we got? We got a... Is that a sort of roadster? Oops, sorry. I think that's like a roadster. Lotus 72D I can't see because of my top hat. Saudi Williams from 81. Looks like a sort of Schumacher era Ferrari. I have no idea what's at the front. but all seem to be Formula 1 or Indy cars. That's pretty cool. Right, this is where I'm going to end this car. So you can't even get off the ground. Oh well. It's been fun. Right, on to the next one, and it's quite a jump. And that brings us to the 1930s. During an era when Grand Prix racing was just completely insane. We go to Germany, or one team from the Germans, and that is Mercedes. And they came up with this in 1936 or 37, I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but this is the Mercedes W125, a development of the W25, which I featured on this channel a couple of times already, and this is actually the first time I featured this car on this channel. Driven it a little bit around Spa, but not on this track, so this is only going to go one way. But this is probably one of the most successful Grand Prix cars of all time. This thing was just completely bonkers. It was so quick. It could go well beyond 200 miles an hour. And in pretty much any case, it will be just wheel spinning all the time. So you need to be so gentle with the throttle control on this thing. It will wheel spin any point, especially really catches you out. You can be changing gear and it will wheel spin. Just do anything, just look at it and it will wheel spin. It's a crazy machine built at a crazy time, which obviously led to probably one of the darkest periods in human history, which it's not the W25's fault, although the people who are at fault kind of funded this thing. If you want to look up the history of the Silver Arrows from the 1930s, it's a really interesting story. But obviously it does have a somewhat dark side to the story, but it's interesting nonetheless. And this thing was powered by a 5.6 litre for God's sake, my English, supercharged V8 engine. Monster thing. And I've seen videos, I haven't seen one of these in real life, but I've seen videos of these cars and they're just crazy, and it had just the biggest drivers and the biggest balls to drive this thing, such as Herman Lang, Rudolf Caracciola, Richard Seaman as well, which I will be doing a video on at some point in the near future, but I'm still practicing because this car is really difficult to drive. And you also notice there's a few holes around this car, and it's purely because of weight saving. Every piece of metal you find on this car has got holes in it to reduce its weight, because originally these cars were overweight and they had to reduce it any way they can, stripping the paint, cutting holes in any metal, and yeah, it's a pretty interesting story. But let's give the Mercedes W25 a little bit of a run. So here we are once again on the start line, and a lot different machinery than last time. It's such a beautiful car. The interior in here is also really nicely made. I'm really impressed. But as you can see, all the weight saving methods have also been replicated on this mod, on the steering wheel, in the cockpit, and the gear stick, everything. And it's pretty impressive. Now the trick is with these, you've got to be just so careful with how you drive this thing. It's like, yes, it's got extremely fast straight line speed. Yes, you might go through corners quite slowly, but forget all that. Your straight line speed will just recover. So yeah, right, let's just do this, and we're away. Nice bit of wheel spin. I'm gonna brake now because I'm scared. Probably didn't have to do that, but here we go. Way okay. Feels pretty smooth actually in terms of frame rate. I hope it's okay for you. Got through there quite nicely. I'm only about half throttle at the moment. Change gear. I took my foot off the throttle as well, just to prevent any kinds of like me dying because of wheel spin. Get through here quite nicely. Bit of oversteer. Way okay. And see there, as soon as it gets near that yellow line on the dash, it just wheel spins. That was my fault. That wasn't the car. Because I'm having to turn down the volume quite a lot, because just so then there isn't an echo for you. crikey. Full shot. 1 minute 8. That's not bad for a car from this era. As I lose control. Well, that was better than I thought. 1 minute 8. That's not bad. Anyway, I mentioned the silver arrows. How about the main competitor for this? And of course I'm referring to this absolute beast of a car. I was about to say engine, but no, car. It's mainly engine. It's got a V16 in the back. And this is probably one of the most revolutionary cars in Grand Prix history, if not even just motorsport history. Because this kind of thing, when it appeared, had never been seen before. And was never seen again up until the until about the 1960s. So 30 years after this, where people thought, maybe we should put the engine in the back. And this thing's powered by a V16. So it wouldn't look out of place if it was on a Messerschmitt 109. So this thing is just incredibly powerful. And the power from this car, I think it's about 600 horsepower. From the top of my head, or maybe slightly more, wasn't seen in Grand Prix racing until the 1980s. That's just how powerful this thing was, and is because there's only one of these left in the world, and that will be attending this year's Formula Festival of Speed, and I really cannot wait to see it. Hans-Joachim Stuck will be there as well, driving it as usual. Hopefully I get to get up and close and personal with this thing. It's just an insane car, and just like the Mercedes just before this one also needs to be driven with a lot of care. So enough talking, let's do this. Okay then, we're back in the Auto Union Type C. We've been here before a few times on this channel, so it needs no introduction. Let's go. And again, just like the Mercedes, this will wheel spin at any random moment. So I'm just going to take it gently around here, no need to rush. It's got beautiful sound as well. It's not quite what the real thing sounds like. The real thing just sounds like an explosion, let's be honest. And I can't wait to hear it. I really can't. I want to be near it when they start this thing up. In fact, when I saw that Handstück was coming, I knew exactly why. I was like, well, it's not going to be driving anything else but this thing. And then they released the entry list earlier this week, and there it was, shining in the pile, the Auto Union Type C. So I'm really excited just to see this thing going. So far so good on this run. Listen to that noise. Sounds like a Heinkel. And we crossed the line, 1 minute 5, so we've beaten the Mercedes, probably because this is slightly easier to drive, I would say. But it's still pretty damn hard, but also extremely quick. This thing, again, well over 200 miles an hour. Oh, brilliant car. Right, so now we're going to jump forward about 30 years and have a look at what changed motorsport history then. And of course we are here in the 1960s, the late 1960s of Formula 1, probably one of the most favoured eras of Formula 1, the most dangerous. Now, in the 1960s, the cars were basically bathtubs full of fuel on wheels, and if you got in a crash, then it's 50-50 chance, I'd say. But it wasn't until 1968 where teams started to discover the benefits of aerodynamics. Now, it's purely believed that engine power alone would win you races. Until they found out the benefits of aerodynamics, they really started to experiment. And this was kind of a representation of those early experiments. We have two big, huge wings, one at the back and one at the front. Kind of like a biplane. And what they are, these wings, are basically airplane wings just flipped upside down to create downforce on these cars. So yes, straight line speed would be decreased due to drag, but their cornering speed so much quicker due to that said downforce. And once one team popped up with them, every other team wanted to do exactly the same. And you've seen so many clips out there, especially at races like Montjuic where it's still quite early. You're seeing these cars running along and these wings are just falling off because they're just literally bits of metal taped to these cars. It's insane here, but it changed everything. It's not after this you barely saw any Formula 1 cars without a rear wing. And imagine if this was never really discovered. Imagine what Formula 1 cars would look like now without wings. But we featured the 49 a few times. This is the 49B variant, and I haven't featured this one on this channel, so this will be fun. And you will see exactly what I mean, well, how when people think, oh, they won't be able to see, but trust me, you can, because have a look. And this is your viewpoint from this weird looking car. They've literally bolted on these well, I would say a rear wing, it's a front wing, but not where you'd expect it. And the rear wing's back there. So love that sound. Let's go. Now you see it will kind of flex depending on what you're doing. Now we're not going for any records until the last car. So this one, I'm just going to take it gently. Honestly, I really cannot wait. I'm still trying to think of what parts of the hill climb I want to go and watch. And I will be going to the rally stage at some point as well. So I missed out on that last year. And there's a nice collection of Group B cars going. Oh no, got that one. Oh dear. You did not see that. I think dodgy front wing. That's why. Right, full power. Let's go. Oh god. That is a 51.9. That's not bad. Not bad. But a lot slower than the regular version of the 49. And even the 49C, because the 49C has a much better rear wing, and the front wings are sort of where you'd expect them to be. Right. Next up is something about, I don't know, a few years from now. Let's take a look. And here we are in 1975, where we have this appear on the Formula 1 grid for the first time. Everyone went, what is that? And this is, of course, the Tyro P34, the six-wheeled Tyrrell. Such a unique machine, such a fascinating machine, and I was actually quite glad to get the opportunity to have a good up-close look at this car last year. By accident, to be fair, I just walked past the guardrail that was just, you know, casually there. It wasn't exactly blocking anyone off, and I got a few pictures up close of it, but blokes down there didn't really stop me. So yeah, it was quite a weird experience just looking at how small these tyres are at the front. And this was mainly done not for top speed but for cornering speed, and you'll see the development for this car and the previous car, the 49B. A lot of difference here. The survival style is pretty much around the entire driver, and just the overall shape and the front wings and the rear wings have all just changed, and even the size of the tyres. We now have slick tyres and pretty much the same engines, the Ford Cosworth V8s. They were just everywhere except for Ferrari and probably someone else. But a six-wheel Tyrrell, it was actually reasonably successful in Formula 1 until it was banned, like all these things are eventually. And yeah, so it's got quite a cool history, so check them out. Don't forget the originals still exist. I think they're just replicas, but it's still brilliant representation. I was actually quite gutted not to see this thing at Brands Hatch, because it was there last year and I was hoping it'd be there this year, but it wasn't. It was there in Austria though, for some reason, but it just wasn't at Brands Hatch, so very upset. Oh well, I'm sure it's running this weekend. Right, let's have a go at this. And here we are in the cockpit of the Tyro P34. And as you can see, these two little windows, these were built specifically so that the driver could see the condition of the front tyres a lot easier. And as you can see, I can turn the wheel and both of them move, which is really, really cool, and I really appreciate that little detail. Right, haven't really driven this car, to be honest, too much. Let's go. And I can't really see the front of the car. It's just obscured by the survival cell. As you can see, cornering is very easy. You can't go super speeds, but it still feels really nice. It feels natural. Clip the grass on the way. It sounds like this car is just falling to pieces. It could be just purely because of the amount of wheels in this car, let's be honest. Ooh, nearly went wide. Ooh, nearly touched the flip wall there. It's a little bit unstable, but it has got 6 wheels. I give it that. So come round to the finish line. The 50.1. I can't remember what my last time was, but I think it's slightly faster. Maybe. I'm not too sure. But yeah, that's pretty fun. I need to drive this car more often. It's a pretty fun car to drive. Sorry. Anyway, I can't remember what's next. Oh no, yes I do. Let's have a look. And here we are once again with the RSS Formula 1979, a car which I featured in a recent upload where we paid tribute to Gilles Villeneuve, the legend that is. And this was the first kind of generation of ground effect cars. Now these came about in the late 1970s, and basically what ground effect is, can be a little bit tricky to understand, but what it is something to do with the design of the floor, which enables the car to sit on a cushion of air, and that will enable greater cornering speeds. It's all about those cornering speeds at this time, not really straight line because you've got the engine for that, but cornering speeds is where overtakes happen. So these ground effect cars are so revolutionary, but also quite dangerous. If that airflow is disrupted in any way, shape or form in this era, there were some quite spectacular crashes where the car would just simply lose control and off you go into a barrier somewhere. And there were some horrible accidents at this time. Luckily, this current era Formula 1 haven't seen that many. Obviously, you've got the porpoising, but that's about it. But this early generation was pretty extreme, and you could really tell the difference between a car from, say, 1979 and a car from 1976, one with, one without ground effects. You can really feel the difference if you've got these cars in Assetto Corsa. So please go and try them out and you'll see what I mean. But let's go try this one out on the hill climb. It always feels nice to step inside this car. It's a beautiful sound as well. And away we go. Quite a quick launch. Already up to 3rd gear already. Clip the grass. Ooh. Let's give some the beans. Through here, through there. I've forgotten where this place is called. Morecambe, that's it. I remembered. We approach the flint wall. Brake from this corner, I've forgotten what it's called, but I hate this corner. Whoa! Suddenly wanted to swerve into the hay bales there, but we survived. And there's the finish line, and we cross it at a 49.0. That's pretty good. It's pretty nice. I think that's the fastest time yet so far. Slow down, okay. Fine, I'll slow down. To a crawl. Anyway, the next car on this list is slightly unique. It wasn't that good, but it's remembered so fondly amongst racing fans. You see what I mean. And this is what I was talking about. A car which could have been revolutionary, but was banned by the FIA. The Brabham BT46B, the fan car. And I say fan car, you might not know. It's not because it's, had a lot of fans, or as in like supporters. No, you'll see there's a great big fan on it. And this car, essentially that fan, what it did was kind of just, again, it's kind of like an early development of ground effects. I think this car was a year or two older than the previous car on this list, and this is kind of like an early sort of design of that, and all it did, yeah, was kind of like suck the car to the ground. It's really weird. I don't quite understand how it truly worked. I've done a little bit of research on it. It was moderately successful. I believe Niki Lauda did get a podium or win with this car, but other than that, it was quite unreliable. And eventually, after about 3 races, it was banned. And it was powered by Alfa Romeo. This is a Brabham team as well, sponsored by Parmalat. And sounds quite similar to my second name, actually. Anyways, it's quite an odd looking car, and I think this was at Goodwood last year. I can't quite remember. I'm not too sure if it's going this year or not. I just don't know. Anyways, let's have a go at driving this thing. Right, and here we are in the cockpit of the Brabham Mp4-4 fan car. It's not the most detailed car in Assetto Corsa, but it's still a nice car to drive. Nice sounding as well. I've got a nice big stick in front of me to tell me which way to go. So let's go forwards. Ooh. Don't know what that was. And the speed difference isn't that great. Doesn't feel much faster than cars of this era. But it does feel quicker off the line though. And its braking is really nice as well. As we go up one of the straights. Go through past Flint Wall, through corner that I hate, and full throttle all the way to the finish line. And 46.0, so by far the fastest. So far, beating the Formula RSS by about 3 seconds. That's pretty good, actually. And okay, well, that went a lot better than what I thought. Anyway, the next car on this list is very famous, much loved. We'll be attending this year's event. Hopefully, I can get up close to it. Yada yada yada. But it's not a Formula 1 car. It's this. The Audi Quattro S1 E2 Group B rally car. Now, Group B rallying is probably the most insane things I've ever witnessed. Obviously, I've never witnessed it with my own eyes. I've watched videos and stuff like that. And obviously driven these cars in sim rigs such as this and Dirt Rally 2. But to see one of these things in real life, I really cannot wait. I think there was one last year, I can't quite remember. But I think these are running on the Forest Rally stage. I know they have got a moment on the hill climb amongst other Group B classics. And I think this is probably one of the most recognisable of that era. Such a beautiful car from such a recognisable car. Quite a well-known car the Audi Quattro is. To then this becoming a thing. It's ridiculous. Group B running is just insane. Imagine if that carried on and it did still go on today. What cars would we be seeing out of modern day cars? I don't think it'd be that exciting, but we could all dream, can't we? Anyway, this is gonna be fun. Audi Quattro got 46 seconds to beat. Let's have a little go, shall we? Let's go. Here we are then inside this Audi Quattro. And you see immediately the amount of buttons I have at my disposal. Don't know what any of them do. But let's make sure our turbo is maximum, which it is. I've done this car before with a Tiger Florio event, which was pretty fun. This car is not as hard to drive as it is in Dirt Rally, I'll tell you that. But let's go. Really quick off the line. I love that whistle sort of whistling sound this thing makes. That, you hear that? It's just such a beautiful sound. I don't know why. It's such a small sound, but it just beautiful. Yes, it's difficult to drive and it's a challenge, but at the same time, we hit some walls. It's still just so fun. And we'll see one of these just being thrown around. So much fun. It's a 51.2, so slower than the Brabham, which I'm not really surprised about. Like, yes, these are fast cars, but not as fast as Formula 1 cars. As it's, you know, claimed that Group B cars were faster, but they really weren't. Anyways, that was pretty fun. I enjoyed that. Right, next up is probably one of my personal favourites. In fact, I have a poster of it in my new flat. Let's take a look. And here she is, the Porsche 917K. Like I just said, just such a gorgeous car. It really is. Like, I don't know really how to describe this beauty that I'm looking at. And this year at the Festival of Speed, one of these is attending, and I really just cannot wait to see this thing in action. It's just insane. I mean, it was in an era where aerodynamics started to become a thing, and they just decided to make the entire car a rear wing. It's so weird, but it's so beautiful. So fast as well. These things can go up to about 240 miles an hour. It's just insane. I don't know what else to say about it that hasn't already said. So let's just have a little ride. Now, I've got to say, the interior of this car is so nicely detailed. We even have a nice little seat as well for any passengers that are just stupid enough to come and drive with me. Those are actually a thing. I think that's a rule where back in the 70s you had to have either space for a passenger seat. You didn't necessarily have to have one, you just had to have space. That's why you still see two doors on modern day NMPs, because it's still a rule. Here we go. Let's go. Such a monstrous sounding engine, and when you see videos of these things in real life, they've got such a scary upshift and downshift sound that's not quite replicated in this car, in this game. But they're just, it's like a nuclear bomb going off every time they change gears. It's just crazy. I think we might have a good chance at breaking that 46 seconds if I play my cards right, which I'm currently not. Oh no! See, the turning circle of this car isn't great, and its aerodynamics isn't great, but still could be worse. And a 50.2, so could be worse. From a car from 1970, that's pretty good. Such a great car. The amount of times I've driven this at fast speed, it's a difficult car to drive, but when you get it right, it's just oh so satisfying. And I really cannot wait to see this car in action on Friday and Sunday. So, what's the next one? I cannot remember. We shall find out. And of course, I couldn't do a video without featuring this gorgeous car. It's the Mclaren Mp4-4, probably the most successful Formula 1 car of all time, where in 1988 it won between Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost, won every single race except for one, which was the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. Every other race, either Prost or Senna won, and of course they won the championship, and Senna won the Drivers' Championship as well. Such a fantastic car. It's quick, it's easy to drive according to Senna, and I think it was reported during testing at, I think it was Imola, I'm not too sure, for this car, Senna, when he got back from driving this car, he just sat there in silence for what seemed like an eternity, and then just turned to someone and said, "This is a car," or something similar along those lines. I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but it said something along those lines, and this car will always be a legend. It's just such a gorgeous car. It's really thin as well. It's such a smooth looking car. I've got a model of it in my cabinet over there. In comparison to the cars around it, it's just so small. And obviously F1 cars are small anyway, but this in particular is just tiny. It's like a 1960s Formula 1 car with just a few bits added on. So it's an insane car, beautiful car, a fast car, and just probably the best one. So let's have a little go. Here we are in the cockpit of the McLaren. Turbo's at 100. Listen to that beautiful roar. Let's go. Beauty about this car. I've done a season in this car, on this game. I did win the championship as well. You can really have such a great field of view from this car. You can clearly see everything around you. The front wing, the front wheels, the dash, everything is so, well, I was about to say to hand, but to visual. I can clearly see it without really turning my head too much, and the rear view mirrors as well. Get through the flip wall. Flipped it slightly as usual. Oh, they lost it there. Full throttle all the way. So quick, and we do this in a 43.9. No surprises there, as this car takes top spot. Such a beautiful car. I really love driving this thing. So nice. Oh, I want to drive a few more times. I haven't done a video on this. On this car, yeah. I think I need to. Anyways, time for the next one. And here she is, the Audi R8. Probably the most successful Le Mans car of all time. I believe this car won 6 Le Mans 24 hours, which is just an insane tally. It was so good they just kept using it year after year. And this was also kind of the last in the generation of the open top LMPs. Because back then there wasn't really any rules, but because there was a few accidents involving these cars, they eventually made it mandatory and banned all open top cars taking part in the 24-hour endurance races, or all endurance, I'm not too sure. But I think all LMP 1s and 2s have to be closed cockpits. But back then there wasn't such rule, and as you can see, we've got an open cockpit in this beautiful car. This is kind of how I remember Le Mans cars. These are from my youth. When I was growing up, these are what kind of the cars were looking like. So this is how I remember them. And Audi, again, very successful team and constructor in Le Mans. So let's give this one a little bit of a show. Here we are then, and the cockpit is actually quite nice. I like it. I love that sound. Let's go. So I can't really see too much, but the sound of this car featured in that 90 years of Le Mans Greats video I did recently, and I didn't drive it, but you heard it. It was such a nice sound. Making slightly early because I'm not quite used to this car. Through here without touching anything good. Ooh, oh, we did that, of course. And it's a 45.5, so not as fast as the McLaren, which is a shame. Oh well. Look at this tiny little thing. Is that like a page or something? Or is it just a clock? I think it's just a clock. Woo. Luckily this thing has a lot of downforce, so I can get through that corner without crashing into those bales. Park around this dude. Right. Next up is a nice one. So here we are then. The Porsche 919 Evo Tributes. This car was built in response to the retiring of the regular 919 from Le Mans service. It was doing that for about 3 years or 4 years, can't quite remember, but Porsche very successful. So I decided to kind of celebrate the car by just doing this. This is a car without limits. It's a 919 but just modded. Basically modded. They removed everything that could save weight, so headlights, wipers, just everything, and added so much to it that this is quicker than a regular F1 car. Now this car, for me, has got my personal best on this track, and that's a 33.8. I've also got my personal best on Spa with this car as well, and in real life it holds the lap record around the Nordschleife, and I believe Spa as well, or they attempted Spa and they didn't quite get it, but also went to Brands Hatch as well, did a big tour, pretty impressive, and this car is just absolutely insane, as you're about to see why. Here we are then, inside this monster. Listen to that, let's go. This thing has pretty much all the downforce you want in the world. As we use our boost, this thing pretty much has unlimited boost. It has 2 ways of recovering energy to use as additional power. One from the kinetic energy, and one from exhaust, I believe, which gives this thing just unlimited boost, pretty much. So we're up to 6th gear, 7th, and we crossed the line to 36.6. I don't think we're going to beat that with the rest of the cars that we have. We have 2 more. Oh, this thing is crazy. Eventually, the Tiger Floro will be attempted in this car, I can tell you that. And that is going to be so much fun. Or disastrous. No, me, disastrous. Because I think I've hit the wall here. Every car, including the first one. See, when I'm off camera, I don't hit walls hardly ever at all. But when I'm on camera, just everything goes wrong. Oh well. 2 more cars to go. Let's have a little look. So here we are then. The only supercar I've featured on this list, purely because I'm not really the biggest supercar fan out there. I don't know, I look at them and I just think they all look the same. I don't know. I'm more interested into classic sports cars. But we have this, the Ferrari Laferrari. Probably one of the most revolutionary road cars there are. Now this is a road car, built for the road, built for customers. But it incorporates GT and F1 technology. This thing has curves. This thing has curves. Why would you want it on the road? I do not know. But it has it. Just because, you know, I don't know. But we are here with the Ferrari Laferrari. Very quick Ferrari. An iconic Ferrari. So let's have a little go. Well, we're inside. It feels nice. It does feel nice to drive these cars in this game though. You do really feel like you're in this car. And the detail is just so beautiful. The lighting in here is just gorgeous. All the carbon fibre details, the dashboard, everything about it. It's beautiful. Anyway. Let's go. Oh, that's a nice sound. I haven't really driven this car at all. So it'll be interesting to see what the time is at the end. Right, I'm pressing my curves button. I'm not sure if it's making any difference, but it feels like the car is leaning to the right. Ooh, that was a nice little... every time. No, just forgot to brake then, really. Oh well, don't care. Ooh. And it's a 48.5. Rubbish. Nowhere near the Porsche 919. To fair enough, it's going to be that, let's be honest. Well, apart from the Red Bull X2010, but a respectable time. So did the curves actually do anything? Like, I didn't feel the difference. Hang on, let me just test this out. Where's my button? There it is. No. No difference whatsoever. Oh well. That's a shame. Clearly, sports cars, just supercars don't work. Anyway, time for our final car. And for the final time on this video, we are checking out once again the VRC Formula Alpha 2022, a representation of the current regulations in Formula 1. Again, a revolutionary thing, taking us back to the 70s and 80s of the Grand Effect era. These things, you know, there's teams that are struggling, teams that are not. I think Red Bull are probably ones that are probably less effective. They seem to be doing the best at the moment as it stands. It's just a few days after the Canadian Grand Prix. At the moment, Max Verstappen's current championship leader. I think Sergio Perez is still a second, or it might be third, I'm not too sure, but they're leading the way in the Constructors' Championship. So, for the final time, let's take this up to the hill climb. And here we are once again in this beautiful interior of this beautiful mod. If you haven't downloaded it yet, please do. It's absolutely fantastic. Let's go. Let's try and get close at least. I love the track map as well on the just beyond the dash there. It's just a line. I like that attention to detail. And the speed of this thing. Ooh. Got through there nicely. And we could get through this without touching any walls. We didn't just there, you did see that. It's a 39.1. So that's pretty good. A nice way to end it, I think. Don't you? That's pretty nice. I enjoyed this video, although it's late and I'm quite tired at this point because I only finished work a few hours ago and it's quite late, like I said. Anyways, so this weekend is the Festival of Speed. I really cannot wait. It's going to be brilliant, and if any of you are going as well, I really hope you have a great weekend and enjoy it. If it's your first time, you're really just going to love it. If you're not, it's all available on the live stream, so you can still see all the action. But like I said, if you're going, then you're really in for a really good time. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this video, and anyone that's recently subscribed, then welcome. We've got plenty more content on the way, all kinds of different cars and different types of videos. It's going to be great. I really am looking forward to what I can make of this channel. I'm really enjoying it so far, although I am quite busy and have been ill and stuff like that. Anyways, so if you have enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, share it if you like, do whatever you like, I don't mind. But if you're new as well, check out some of my other videos. I really appreciate it because I do see that. So apart from that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See you later.